as I'm drawing it, I'm like, even his beard is gay. He's got great cheekbones. He must have had buccal fat removal. Why? Kidnapping the princess, of course. Hey everyone, welcome back. No more cooking. We're getting back to our normal YouTube series. We did a video where I was drawing Ursula. I think a lot of people were surprised that I could draw. I used to be a professional artist. And by the way, we put up some of my artwork because I said I was a storyboard artist, and all the comments, well, not all, but a few were like, these aren't storyboards. I was like, all right,
I don't want
this is just to show that I can draw. Like,
exactly.
My God. Anyways, people, you can't, we are here, and I thought I would do another drawing video. We're sort of continuing like the Disney villain theme. So today I figure I will draw Jafar, who is basically the female Maleficent. I mean, Jafar, even like the staff, because I was attracted to two Disney villains, not sexually, but just attracted in the sense of like I felt
their energy.
Their energy, I felt near them.
Yeah.
Very queer coded. And it was Jafar, well, Maleficent #1, and then it was Jafar. Yeah, I thought I would just draw Jafar and sort of explain how I draw it as I go, and then also Chris is just gonna ask me questions, so I'm just gonna give it a go. It's so weird to describe what I'm doing as I'm doing it because I do it in layers.
Yeah, how do you start? Maybe that's the most tricky
part
for people.
The best rules of art is you work general to specific, so you can't start on the detail. Details come last. So first thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna sketch out the basic shape of Jafar. So Jafar is very angular and very long, where Ursula is very wide and circular. So she's much easier to draw. I can't imagine me and the animators trying to get all these, like the goatee and the teeth and everything, but they did an amazing job. First thing we're gonna do is I always start this part of the head and go down. That's the first thing I do. Everyone else does it differently. For me, once I get that shape of the head, then I can finish the rest of the face. I don't know why. Okay,
maybe that's just how you started.
That's just how yeah, I think it is just kind of how I started, you know, but actually now that I'm looking at it, Jafar is pretty. He's very expressive. His nose is kind of funny too. His nose is bigger than that, okay, yeah? It's also good to have the drawing next to you as a reference because then you can keep looking back. But then also too, like, you don't want it to be an exact, like you want it to still have somewhat of like your own flair to it. His eyebrows are great. I relate to Jafar in many ways because I look just like him. So if I worked for Disney, especially at that time with like the animated movies, I would have had a lot of fun designing the characters, but not animating the characters. I did hand-drawn animation when I was in college, and let me tell you, it's a fucking bitch. That's why storyboarding was so great, because it's like just the keyframes, like just the singular drawings.
And not the details. Not
the details. Yeah, oh my God, like the backs and forths, so ridiculous. Anyways, okay, so we're just going general to specific, and again, I have my reference in front of me. Okay, so if you want to ask some questions, Chris, sorry.
Do you remember the first time you watched Aladdin?
Yeah, it would have been probably, I did everything with my cousin, so it would have been, I'm guessing it would have been in a movie theater, probably Randhurst Mall, which no longer exists, or Woodfield Mall in the suburbs of Chicago. And yeah, Aladdin was a good one because it had that music like, Prince Ali, yes it is he, not as you know him, read my lips. Like, he was so gay, but he was exactly what you want in a Disney villain, you know what I mean? Like, he had secrets and, you know, oh, he was just so gay. Also, I love his, like, little beard that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, what is that?
As I'm drawing it, I'm like, even his beard is gay. You know what's interesting is you had to have a somewhat simple design. Like, now when you watch, like, there's a Marvel TV show called What If, and it's all computer animated, but it's made to look like animation, and so then they can add any detail they want into anything because it's already printed on the character, where then you kind of had to have more color blocky. It was very difficult to have a lot of detail in these characters because you had to draw them over and over again. Yeah. So I have my basic shape of Jafar right now, so I'm just gonna go through and make sure like proportions are right. It's interesting that his eyebrows are black, but then that goes into the hat, which is black, because usually I would feel that that's a big no-no, because then you lose some of the eyebrow, which means you could lose some of the expression. I don't know, it works for some reason.
What kind of music or sounds do you like to have on while you draw normally?
When I was little, nothing.
Really?
No. When I was little, well, also we didn't have money and I didn't have an iPad. Not yet. Now, maybe if I'm really drawing, like I'm really like getting into it, I'll listen to like Rossini, just like piano Rossini.
Yeah.
Classical music. My teacher, Marian Krishkov, from school, the Art Institute of Chicago, always had us listening to classical music or jazz music. And it makes sense because I'm a big, like I listen to like the singing. So if I listen to something with a lot of singing, it can kind of distract me. Yeah, so for me, it was good to learn how to draw. You know what's interesting? They didn't give him this. Usually they give that in the eyelid.
Yeah.
They don't give him an eyelid, but they gave him the bags under the eyes. So he's tired, I guess. Maybe Iago.
How do you decide when a drawing is done?
You feel it. Because I know that sounds like an easy cop-out, but you can overwork a painting, you can overwork a drawing. There's so many times when I was in painting classes and I was in Italy and I was painting, we painted alla prima method, which means like you sort of lay out your colors and then sort of blend it in. I always loved if it was like in 3 parts, I loved the first part, the sort of gestural filling out of it. Yeah, like even behind you now, that's like a finished painting. That's a Sorolla recreation I did. They had us paint a lot of other master paintings so you can sort of see their decision making and helps you make your own decisions and you pick influences. It's like singing someone else's song. I never liked paintings that looked too finished, which is why I loved Sargent, because even he left things a bit. Okay, well, I mean, I'm done.
Oh my gosh.
I'm done with the drawing part of it. So now we move into he's got great cheekbones. He must have had buccal fat removal. Him and Leah Michelle. Okay, let's see.
Now will you do just like your ink layer next, or you'll do...
So this is my sketch, like this is the sketch I do, and then what I do is I take this layer and I just bring it down, and then I add another layer, and now I can just kind of go into fine detail. There's multiple ways to do stuff. One day I should do an oil painting on here where I'm not doing any drawings. Kind of my favorite part is like the cleanup part of it, actually. Then you can kind of add in your own, like what's my line work, what's the decisions that I want to make with this.
Yeah.
One thing I was always good at was getting the line done right off the bat, but these eyebrows I'm not feeling these eyebrows.
Where do you usually find inspiration? Or what do you tend to like to draw?
I kind of, I've been drawing the same things basically since I was a kid. So some version of Storm or some version of Maleficent. I mean, not much has changed, to be honest with you. Like, I just always, I don't know. I always end up drawing the same stuff. Stuff that you like when you were a kid, you like as an adult.
Yeah.
I mean, not much changes. That's sort of I think I said this in the last one, that's the great thing about being an artist when you're a kid, is you can really see more than a diary. What am I thinking? What am I into? What am I thinking? One thing that I do a lot with my drawings is to create sharp lines. I erase a lot. So like right now I'm doing his eyelashes. His fucking cat eyes. But then to sharpen that, I just kind of go in with an eraser and then you can just kind of clean it up ever so much.
If you were to get another tattoo of your drawings, which one would it be?
I haven't thought. I don't know.
Okay, sorry.
No, I don't know. Because I was like, I'm only going to get one tattoo, and now I have 4.
Yeah.
So, which I think happens. But they're still, they're very me. But I don't know, because I don't really want another one yet. So I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
This is all I did as a kid, Chris. I sat at my mom's kitchen table. Everybody else, dinner's done. They're off doing whatever. And I have a stack of paper, and I'm just drawing hours and hours and hours. And we had a cuckoo clock.
Really?
Yeah, that my Aunt Karen gave us, and I hated it because it went. So I'd always stop it. And then my mom the next morning was like, "Who stopped the cuckoo clock?"
Would it mess the time up?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I didn't like it. I was drawing and I had this, it felt like torture in my ear. I'm like, ugh. He's actually not as hard to draw as I thought. I don't know why I thought he was going to be more of a challenge, just because he's so angular. Like Hades is really fun to draw, but he's also so angular.
How has your style changed over time?
I would say my style just has become more refined. When I do these types of drawings, I have very sharp line work. I tend to beautify people and things when I draw them, but that's only because I was a fashion illustrator too, so that tends to come with the job. But just being able to slow down a bit, which is a lot for me. I mean, this is considering I draw very fast, but this is me slowing down. I don't know. I mean, I guess just seeing better. The older you get, the less of a rush you're in, and also you're just packed with so much knowledge of what you learned in college and what you learned when I was storyboarding and what I learned in doing tattoo. You just learn and you pick things up. A lot of it are happy accidents. You're like, that's a cool look. This is a cool look. I mean, I even know when I do the heavy outlines on the outside, I learned that from fashion illustration. When I do a heavy eyelid this way, I learned that from watching X-Men. When I do the body position this way, I learned that from watching Mark Davis. It's you kind of pick up different things. Yeah. Sailor Moon, Avatar: The Last Airbender, tons of Maleficent, Mark Davis, that kind of stuff. It's all just kind of what you pick up over the years.
Do you remember the first thing you were really proud of drawing?
Oh God, probably something Maleficent, something Sleeping Beauty, something Maleficent. I mean, that's all I watched when I was a kid, was that movie, was Sleeping Beauty. And it would have probably been something like that. But it's hard to say, because when I tell you, Chris, I never stopped drawing. This is the part, I guess it's kind of, this is the most satisfying part. Yeah, my least favorite part is coloring and then cleaning up the color.
What's your dream collab? Any artist, living or dead?
Like to draw with someone?
Yeah.
It would have been Mark Davis. Or I would have loved to sit with John Singer Sargent in the studio and just see what he did, how he painted, what his process was, you know, what are his tricks. I would have just loved to follow him forever and just see like his watercoloring in Venice, and you know, I just would have been a sponge. Because I mean, at some point with an artist, like, you can't really have an ego when you first start. You just have to be a sponge. You just have to see other people and be inspired and learn, and then use those techniques and adapt them for yourselves. And like any art, you know, you kind of just have to see what's possible for you. Oh yeah, I can talk about my special.
Okay.
So my Hulu special. My special comes out May 16th on Hulu or Disney Plus.
How are you feeling about it?
I mean, I feel great about it because
Yeah.
I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
And does it feel anticlimactic in the sense, like, when you do the special and you film it and all the anxiety leading up to that, afterwards you're just like, next, and then you have to revisit that. You're like, oh, got it. I have to come back here again. But it is really fun. I mean, I am really proud. It's sort of the same thing when I did Radio City, where it's like, I don't allow myself to feel any like appreciation for it until it's done, because I want to make sure it's done right. So I'm not one of these people that in the moment I'm like, thank you. I'm more just so like, are you laughing? Are we having a good time? Was this worth your ticket? That kind of attitude, I think.
What's the biggest difference between this special and your previous stuff?
Just, I would say, well, number one, the space we filmed in. We had so much more space. But not much, you know? I mean, it's just like a celebration of kind of the things that have happened to me over the past 2 years. I really love the jokes. And I always tell people, like, my hour is sort of just like catching up with a friend at brunch.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It doesn't, I don't want it to feel too heavy. Not that there's not heavy things I talk about, but like, my goal is to get the laugh, you know? It was a really fun special. I hope people watch it.
They will.
Right. I'm always so like down on myself. I'm like, well, if they don't, I get it. They're busy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's all right.
They've been asking for it. They can tune in now.
That is true. And it wasn't given to me by Netflix.
Yeah.
Through Netflix. Unless they want to give me a TV show. I'm very happy to. You know, and what was really great about it is that Chris and I had done so much on our own that by the time I got into like the editing room, I was like beyond prepared. You know, I was like, got it. I know how to do this angle, put that there, do this. You know, the editing guy was like, Jesus, okay. Like, he was like, you've done this before. I was like, I had to. No one wanted my special.
Do your stand-up and your art ever overlap?
No.
Or have they in the past?
I did one show once. It was a show called Picture This, where artists draw what the comedian is saying live. It's like projected behind them. And it was a really fun show, but I said to them, like, can I just do it myself? They were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I just want to do it myself. So they brought the stuff on stage and I just did it myself. It was pretty fascinating to like draw your own set.
Wait, you were doing the jokes and drawing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
I think I was talking about cats. It's recorded somewhere if you go deep into my Instagram, you know?
Yeah.
So interesting that they drew his teeth lines. Usually Disney and most people don't draw the teeth lines, but I guess this is lower teeth, so it makes a little more sense. So now, I'm just going in sort of over the details and kind of going through, and you're just kind of drawing over what you already drew and making sure that it's right.
Yeah.
And sort of adding, again, my own flair to it. I want this to look like fabric, not hair. So I guess I'll just keep that simple like that. It's interesting to draw what someone else already drew because they've made the decisions for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you ever created like any original characters?
Yeah, her name was Princess Cupcake.
Oh, really?
And I would love to sell it as a TV show one day, but I've tried. No one's interested. But she's basically kind of like an adult Sailor Moon, but through the eyes of kids. Like, it's very cute.
Oh.
I'm really proud of it. I did like 500 drawings of it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, designed every character and, wrote the stories and all that stuff. And
Do you want to give a brief synopsis without
Sure.
giving too much?
Sure, there was a planet that was divided by dark and light, and they were protected by two crystals that kept it in balance. And then this evil queen named Lady Queen Cassandra, who ends up being a drag queen, she decides that she's going to take both of the crystals and dominate the whole world. And so as she was sort of taking over the world and the light part was losing its light, the high priests took the crystal, froze everything under stone, and sent it to Earth, far, 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 far away. And so it just sat there for like millions of years. And then one day, this little girl, her name is Patsy, just like the tie dish, she discovers, because she's a loser and she's sitting at lunch one day, and she discovers this crystal by digging into the ground. It was supposed to be like Sailor Moon, where like this crystal inhabits the body of a cat, but it actually inhabited her cupcake. So now it's like this floating cupcake that's guiding her, and she doesn't know how to be a superhero. And Lady Queen Cassandra's
so fun.
Yeah, Lady Queen Cassandra's a complete idiot. She's stuck on the planet. She still has the dark crystal, but it's not strong enough yet to send her to Earth. What she can do is she can use a portal to see what's happening on Earth. She doesn't understand what are important, like totems, like what are important things on Earth.
Yeah.
So all the dead soldiers who are frozen under stone, she breaks the stone, takes the soul, and sends it through the portal to inhabit something she sees on Earth that she thinks is like really powerful, but it's like a ketchup bottle. So the like villain of the week is like an evil ketchup bottle. But eventually she's gonna get the strength to go to Earth, and then there'll be like the whole battle, and then Princess Cupcake has to find 4 other girls to be in her team, and so it's very Sailor Moon-esque. I was really proud of it. And the drawings are adorable.
That sounds so fun.
It is really fun. So if anyone's an executive,
Yeah, now we're putting it out there.
I'll put the drawings up. But like I came up with the lore, and it was so fun.
Fun.
It was one of those things where like you don't really get inspired much, but you can draw just to keep up your practice. But this was one of those things where like, oh, I see it in my head and I need it like drawn now.
Yeah.
And I just did all of it.
When did you make this?
2016. It's been a while. No one wants it.
No.
But if I had the capabilities of doing animation and voices and stuff like everything else in our lives, I would have done it myself. But
yeah, that's a whole nother level of
stress.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm done basically with the main drawing. Okay, let's see here. That's basically Jafar. My own version of Jafar. Looks good, right?
Yeah, you look great.
Yeah, the eyes are but the eyes in the drawing are a little wonky too, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna kind of try and even them out. He really loves eyeliner. Good for him. Yeah. Fabulous. A snake am I. Let's see how snake-like I can be. Ugh, I wanted Jafar to win.
Yeah, but,
He was so cool with his like sorcery powers and stuff, and that's all I wanted as a kid was to be some sort of sorcerer. And I have a joke in my special where I'm like, Jafar was so gay. He had that line where he was like, "I wish for Princess Jasmine to fall desperately in love with me." I'm like, girl, we all have that wish. Work. Just because the lines aren't usually as clean as I would like them, I'm gonna kind of do like the thicker outline just to give it a look. This is something I learned from Steve Miller in fashion illustration. Great teacher. I absorbed everything in that class. I was completely obsessed. It was like a class made for me. Looking to see if I forgot anything. No, I think that this is pretty much it. So now we're gonna do, okay, so now we're gonna do color. So I'm gonna go the layer underneath. You're gonna take the layer underneath, and then just for easy, I'm gonna just tap and take in the color that's already there. Wow, he's really orange. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Well, because it's like color theory, it's like the rest of the background is more orange than he is.
Yeah.
So it will make sense in the end. Or it may not, I don't even know. But orange is my favorite, well, orange is our favorite color.
Yeah.
Why does this tap button, okay, there we go.
Did you learn color theory before you did oil painting?
No,
I
learned it in oil painting, but I will say I was a rare student where I guess you would say a natural with color painting. I never had any issues with those classes and matching color and seeing color, and I was always very good at that. Okay. Let's see the color of his eyes. They're brown. I didn't realize my eyes are green, by the way. My friend was looking at my eyes. He's like, "Your eyes are green." I was like, "They are? I thought they were brown." He's like, "No." And he took a picture. I was like, "They are green."
Oh.
They're like green on the inside and brown on the outside.
Oh.
That's pretty much Jafar. Sure, I look exhausted right now, but this is how I draw.
If you had to do a drawing challenge, like one drawing a day for a month, what theme would you pick?
Well, something with people, because I like drawing people the most. I guess it would be some kind of fashion illustration because I just love how they exaggerate the body, the human body, and not just like length, but just like how they pose them and like, you know, it's quite interesting. I find it to be very interesting. This is the most boring part for me, is the color cleanup. And I know there's probably an easier way to do it, but this is just the way that I do it. It still feels the most organic. Like Procreate, I have to admit, and the Apple Pencil, like they've done a really good job of keeping it feeling like I'm just drawing with a pad of paper. Like they have paintbrushes, they have pencil brushes. They really have thought of everything. Why? Kidnapping the princess, of course. He didn't kidnap me, I ran away. Oh, dear. I didn't understand when I was a kid when he said punishment and she's like, what? And he goes, death? I thought he said death. I didn't get it. I also never understood how Jafar changed his costume so quickly as that old man. Like his teeth were different, and even as a kid I was like, how did he do that? Like, for me, I think they just think that kids won't notice, but then there's those gay art kids that notice. You know what I mean? Like, I noticed. I was
taking you out of it.
Yeah, I was like, that's not what I'm gonna do. Something for the background that I seldom do, but it's a really great trick to add depth to something. It's a weird skill to just have to be able to draw. Well, it used to be a career, and now it feels like a party trick. And like, I think also when people see you draw, it's different than seeing a drawing. Seeing a drawing, people are like, oh, that's nice, and then they see you draw, and they're like, oh my god.
Yeah, they don't realize,
I can't do that.
Because you see it as nothing, and then it's like that.
Yeah, it's weird. To create the jewel look, I'm going to use a soft brush, and I'm just going to go... And then what I'm going to do to even make it more jewelly-like, you pick a brighter color, go up, and then...
Yeah.
Jewel. Shiny. I can add in my own sort of shadow and light textures if you want. We are pretty much done. That's it. Okay, so there's our base of Jafar. Okay, so what was the background for here? Just like a blue and gold color. So here's a simple thing to do for a background. I'm gonna just take, there's no red, so I'm gonna take this sort of red. And then I'm gonna go really dark. I think that's a little too red. Hold on a second. This seems like a good color. Let me do my brush, maybe almost purple red so it can stay different than the rest of this. But I want it to have the, look at me arguing with myself. Yeah, I think it needs, that's what it needs. I'm trying to see what's gonna look good. And then I'm just gonna take this gush and blur the shit out of it. Although, and then it sort of just adds depth. There we go. Okay, all right. This is something that I do. I usually try and figure out what would the best light source be. I think light coming from underneath would be really good for him. We're kind of going into Matteo territory here of how I would color this. So we're gonna keep it in the warm family. I'm gonna go like this, and then I'm gonna make that a multiply layer, so it's a bit see-through. And then I'm going to do, so we want the light source now coming from underneath him, okay? Oh, that was too much. Also, I don't think I should have picked orange, so let's see. Sort of like that. Okay, real quick, we're gonna get rid of the rest of it. So do you see how ready they're it's darker above and lighter underneath?
Yeah.
So now, because that light source is there, we are going to pick a color. So I would say let's do a warm yellow. And then when you do light sources from underneath, oh, I'm gonna change that, but we can change it later. Okay, so everything when the light source is coming from underneath has to hit parts that usually shadows from the above would be. Let's see here. Did you ever draw, Chris, or no? You're really creative.
Not really. I mean, I draw now, but not like this drawing.
Yeah, because you had next time you have like a gallery with your work and stuff, you should promote it on here.
I will. Yeah, just draw silly little flowers.
That's great though. That's the good thing about getting older is like when I was in art school, I was such a purist. I was like, everyone has to do art this way. And then the older you get, you're like, oh wait, actually no, like any kind of art is great and any kind of individualism is great. Okay, so I'm just sort of laying this down here and then you'll see what I'm gonna do. I'm also gonna add in another light source. I don't want this to be all the same intensity because the light from the bottom has to be the brightest part.
Exactly, yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is I kind of color it in. There's a lot of backtracking when it comes to art. So, oh, and even now we can create an eyelid because look, there would be a shadow there.
Yeah.
Oh, his buckle fat. And then even here. So now, first of all, this is the wrong color. This is more the right color, I think. Also, and then we're gonna get rid of what I put in the eyes. So now I'm gonna go at that layer that I was just doing, just from the top and doing sort of the opposite. I'm just taking out a little bit from the top, so that way you can still see that there's a bit of that actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
Also, just to separate him, I'm gonna duplicate his layer and then take the bottom layer and then bring the brightness all the way up so that I know that it's gonna be white, and then take a really powerful yellow and now it's gonna be yellow, and then I'm gonna gush and blur it, and now all of a sudden he has like a glow. I'm gonna duplicate that so it's even stronger, and then let's see what color we're gonna change it to. Ooh, pink's fun. Red.
Yeah, I think red works.
Sort of devil-like.
Yeah.
I should also crop this, but I'm too lazy. So now we're gonna add in shadows. Oh my god, this is so much. I can't believe I used to do this all the fucking time. Okay, so now we have to add in shadows, right? So shadows. Now I have Ashley Simpson's Living in the Shadow stuck in my head. It's a bit of trial and error. You kind of just have to go through and see, like, does this work? Does that work? The thing is, these characters weren't designed for this kind of 3D-ness, so sometimes when you add shadows to them, it's a bit strange. Yeah, I think that's just enough shadow. I'm gonna take it down. Yeah, just a little bit. See? It adds just the right amount of depth. I'm gonna get rid of this layer, that layer. So I'm going back to my original layer, and then I'm gonna just add in a few natural highlights. And then I'm putting those layers back. We're adding a lot of depth. Oh, I should do the jewel. The jewel should be nice and shiny. Now what I'm gonna do is add another highlight. So I'm gonna go something wildly different. I'm gonna choose blue. Ooh. So that it even creates like a more like 3D. And if you wanted to, you could even add another. I mean, at some point it gets a bit overzealous, you know? I almost think I might. Let's see what happens. Just what happens if I add some green. Too much. You know what though? If on the basis of red, that actually might work. Yeah, I actually kind of like that. I'm gonna take it down by a lot. All right, let me add texture to his skin. So I'm gonna do what's called noise. It just helps add a little texture to it. It really looks pretty. I love that part. And then I guess I'm just gonna add some smoke in the front because I'm too lazy to finish the rest of... I guess what color would the smoke be with him? Maybe greenish yellow.
Yeah.
Or what colors was his?
He was purple. Purple smoke.
It was?
Yeah, that's what it said.
Okay, well then we're changing this to be purple. I think that's pretty good, right? So then it's a little more detailed than what we did for Ursula. So let me quickly sign it.
Look at that.
There we go. I drew Jafar.
It looks so good.
Right?
It looks so much better from this angle because I'm just looking at it upside down.
Where does my Ursula? Oh, so there you go. Yeah, so Ursula we did real simple. So I was also drawing a lot when I was in Mexico City, so it makes a sense that I'm like sort of back at it.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good.
It looks so good.
Yeah, there's Jafar. So wow, my head was down the entire time. Never heard that before. yeah, that's pretty much it. If you
Yeah.
guys enjoy this, we'll definitely do more because
Yeah.
I need to be drawing anyways. And do we draw more Disney villains? Like, who should we draw next? There's like Yzma, Maleficent, Evil Stepmother, the Queen from Snow White, the drawing. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and hanging out with us. Chris and I are back to our normal routine. Or what do they say? Back to our routinely schedule or something.
Routinely scheduled program.
Thank you. We're back. And my special comes out May 16th on Hulu and Disney Plus. So if you're watching it on Hulu or Disney Plus, you can watch it. And I hope you enjoy it. And please like and subscribe. And I think they're supposed to share the video. Yeah. Does that make
Sure.
more people watch it?
Yeah, if
Can
they
you
send it to someone else, yeah.
Can you share it, please? I don't know how else. I'm old. Can you share it?